all of us will have a mixed judgment of whether devolution really succeeded, or are we doing well, or are we not doing well. You know, Mr. Speaker, devolution is not an experiment. It is the reality of our time. So, as industry players, MCAs and Senate, we can never afford to let devolution fail. Because this is not an experiment. It is already in the Constitution. So if you're any of the organs charged with devolution, your mandate is to ensure that devolution succeeds. And devolution was actually a revolution, our own little form of revolution, without necessarily a violent revolution. When you talk about devolution, it tried to create structures to the very bottom of our society. It tells you need somebody called a ward rep, a village rep, and many of these things. These were not supposed to be cronies of the governors. They were supposed to take down devolution as a promise of our time. They were supposed to relate back the aspiration and relay back the policy orientation. Again, what you see these days, everybody is trying to fit in their biggest, crony as a ward rep, and these villagers and these people at the ward rep level think now they have become bosses unto us. The only thing they are short of is to have an escort. So what happens? Devolution has become fairly also a nuisance to people. Not because devolution is a bad idea, but even the way Kinuthia Mwangi, the way you started devolution, translated our governors into some kind of feudal chiefs. It made our governors to be the colonial governors of the yesteryears and provincial commissioners. Devolution was about the national cake, how we divided the national cake and how we grew the national cake. Most governors treat devolution as a big CDF. Wataka nini kabro, wataka nini hiyo. And then you show your magnanimity by launching a toilet and a footbridge. It is shameful in Kenya for us to demonstrate our failures. Social justice was a promise at the advent of independence. 50 years on, we are still launching toilets for our people. We have not even achieved the ends of sanitation. Our people live in filth when governors and cronies and people even in our levels live in almost immoral opulence. You go with a whole array of busybodies. You go with a whole array of busybodies, advisors, and everybody to officiate and preside over a small function. The cost of the function itself could actually do another project. Kwa hivyo, wacha nitaendelea. Kwa hivyo devolution was about equity. Devolution was about equity. Devolution was about social justice. Devolution was about the ordinary people. Devolution was about Article 174. But devolution was never about exclusion. Devolution was about the promise of a better Kenya. Devolution was supposed to achieve social justice. Devolution was about to achieve equity. Devolution was about giving meaningful progress to the most disenfranchised of our society. That was what devolution was about. It was never about creating new feudal chiefs within our lives. And devolution does not talk about equality. It talks about equity. It talks about social justice. And the social justice phenomenon is one of the most radical phenomena in our lives. Social justice means those who are worse off must be better off before those who are better off become well off. Kwa hivyo, there is no way we can audit devolution without auditing the conduct of those who must preside over devolution. You cannot talk about devolution without talking about the governors. You cannot talk about devolution without talking about the senators. You cannot talk about devolution without talking about members of the county assembly. And if we have made mistakes, we must own those mistakes. Even us, I've spoken many times, Speaker, in the Senate. I believe the Senate ought to have done more, much in the same way the members of county assembly need to have done more in the oversight role of the county governments. Kwa hivyo, as we come to this conference, let us honestly and objectively interrogate the issues around devolution. Let us make sure, and I want to end this by saying this, especially to the members of the media, you make the position of an MCA so inconsequential. You always continue to discredit the institution of the MCA. You try every other time to make it appear like MCAs are unworthy of those positions, overpaid and yet underachieved. There are MCAs in this country who are more learned than people in parliament. And the intention of devolution was to ensure that we have MCAs who are competent to be legislators in the same way we have legislators in the national parliament. And that's why when I see some of these people talking about senators seeking different positions, they make it appear like it is criminal for a senator to seek an MCA position. It is not. They talk about senators who are becoming MCAs. Why are you not talking about senators who are about to become president like Wetangula? Because there are all sorts of senators. So for me, we must have a resolution of this conference to ensure that this position of an MCA is revered, it is celebrated, both in terms of its ability to execute its function and its respect in the society. So MCAs, some of you might be seeking higher office. This might be our last time we're in this forum together in this format. So as you go into your election period, make sure that you cement the vision for the future. Take stock of what your county assemblies have done. Those who get re-elected, improve them. Those who seek other positions, help to improve the MCA. Those who become senators, ensure you empower MCAs. And all institutions must work to ensure that this country is set on the path of the devolution revolution. Wale watu waliokuwa na heckle mimi siogopi heckling. Where?